Hey, Beastista here, and welcome to the semifinals of the VDL Crew battle. This week we're playing against Snom Army. So last week we got a bye because we were the first overall crew in the VDL Crew. And so nice little relaxation, which was good because I was actually, quite busy. And so I would not have been able to particularly prep much. And now this week I was able to prep and hopefully we were able to do well. This week we're playing against Lucien. Lucien, I've played a couple of times and is infamous for being incredibly lucky. They many times have hit multiple 30% accurate moves in a single game, have a lot of random misses, and so this is definitely going to be a chaotic match, and hopefully the luck is on our side. So here is the matchup. So their team mascot is the Hisuian Gudra, which honestly I don't care too much about. I have Screamtail, which can encore and disable it if they try to set up. Offensively, I don't really care too much about it, and so really they do need to set up. On top of that, I have two Haze Mons in Reverum and Vaporeon, and then also I just have really good super effective damage into it with multiple Ground Mons and and Urshifu just being generically powerful. Other than that, their team has a lot of really good fast attackers in Greninja, Cinderace, Urshifu, and they have a really annoying support Mons in Pachirisu and Thwackey. There's not too much else I'm too concerned with. They can have Intimidate with Masquerain. They can have Shed Tail support with Cyclizar, but I don't really care too much about those. I kind of expect the top triangle Pokemon to show up, Pachirisu, Thwackey, Greninja, Cinderace, Urshifu, and Gudra. And so those are kind of the ones I'm concerned with. And so with that, this is what I ended up bringing. So we start with Kilowattrel. So the first thing note with Kilowattrel is it outspeeds every single Pokemon on their team. And so at best, they have a Scarfmon, which means they can only outspeed Kilowattrel with one Mon. I have Focus Sash, which means that Mon cannot kill me. And I should be able to get pretty consistent Tailwinds up. And with Tailwinds, I should outspeed most things. And Thunderbolt, Air Slash does good damage. And then I have the Spice of Endeavor, in which this is a good way to also deal with Gudra, because if I can get low, I can kind of just get it down to low HP and then kill it with my other Pokemon, in which Kilowattrel outspeeds everything on my team other than Screamtail. And so Endeavor plus another move should pretty much always kill Gudra. And then I'm Terrago specifically so that they can't fake out, or to prevent a fake out from Thwackey, because fake out plus an attack could be really detrimental. And I wanted the Sash so that I can outspeed, or so I can survive things like Pyro Ball, Cinderace with Scarf. Next up, we have what I would describe as standard Urshifu. We have Drain Punch, Sucker Punch, and Wicked Blow. So the stab moves, they have no Fairy Mons, but we have Terra Poison specifically to hit Terra Fairy. I think there's a good chance they're Terra Fairy on the Gudra. And then we have the Assault Vest, and very bulky this week. The idea is that we should be able to take 2 attacks from Cinderace, 2 attacks from Greninja, 2 attacks from their Urshifu, and probably 1 or 2, or 2-shot most of those Mons. And the idea is hopefully get some speed control with Kilowattrel and our next Pokemon in Screamtail. Screamtail, once again, pretty standard Screamtail. We had Encore, Disable, Thunderwave as major support moves, and then we have Dazzling Gleam. We're Terra Poison so that they can't hit me with Scarf Gunk Shot with the Cinderace, which would be really annoying. And then other than that, it's just a good neutral typing. They do not have a single ground Mon, and they also just don't have good ground coverage in general. Very few of their Mons actually get ground coverage, and so the only way they're going to be hitting a Terra Poison is if they Terra Poison and Terra Ground and Terra Blast, basically, which is why I have 3 Terra Poisons on this screen. So the downside with Screamtail specifically, though, is that it's a little bit awkward into Pachirisu, because Follow Me means that Disable Encore isn't as great. I can't Thunderwave Pachirisu because it's an electric type and likely has Volt Absorb. And so Screamtail is incredibly powerful in their team, especially because I'm expecting a couple Scarf Mons, Scarf and maybe a Bandmon. And so I definitely think it's very good, but a little bit high risk because of the Pachirisu specifically. Next up, we have Rillaboom, Rillaboom is Choice Band. It's a little, actually, the first time I've done Choice Band Rillaboom this week. The reason why is they have a lot of fairly frail mons, and to such an extent that Woodhammer kills a lot of mons, even that you wouldn't expect. So Rillaboom with Woodhammer has a good chance to one-shot Cinderace, which resists grass. It has a good chance to one-shot Greninja that is Terra Poison, and that's so that also resisted. It one-shots Pachirisu. It one-shots Urshifu. And like honestly speaking, it one-shots most of their team. The only things that it doesn't one-shot really at all is going to be the Gudra and is going to be the Masquerain. And everything else, it either like guaranteed one-shots it or it has a role to one-shot it if they're not incredibly bulky. And so that was kind of the reason why I was interested in it. We're Terra Water, so we can take the Ice Beams or from Greninja and like the Pyro Balls from Cinderace. That's kind of the idea. So Woodhammer's most likely move I'm going to click. It's going to just do really good damage to everything. And then we have Low Kick, mainly there for Gudra. If Gudra hasn't Terra'd already, Low Kick has a solid chance to one-hit KO it. They cannot survive it unless they have a beneficial defense nature. And even with a max HP, max defense with a beneficial defense nature, it is a roll to kill. So Low Kick almost always kills Gudra if they don't Terra. It also, hits a couple of their mons for super effective, including their Urshifu, because they have the same Urshifu as me, and also their Cyclizar. We have Stomping Tantrum just as another move we might want to lock into, mainly if they have a couple of Poison Terras. It makes that roll to kill Cinderace into a guaranteed kill. Stomping Tantrum can be very good, specifically based on Terra typing. Next up, we have Vaporeon. So Vaporeon is pretty much the standard set of Yawn, Muddy Water, Ice Beam. And then we added Haze specifically to deal with setup Gudra. Like I said, I would like to set up Protect on it, but I feel like being able to 1v1 a Gudra with the Vaporeon seems really useful. We have Citrus Berry just to get a little HP. And then, as I mentioned, Terra Poison is just really good. And it's defensively, that's pretty much just going to let me take no super effective moves at all. And Vaporeon is the type of mon that, is really hard to kill if you don't hit super effectively. And then finally, we have Sandaconda. I was definitely back and forth on Sandaconda of what I wanted, and I ended up going with what I would decide as kind of the standard coil set, which is Coil, Drill Run, Glare, and Rock Slide. Obviously, I could have done Protect over Glare just to get a little more HP, but I decided I wanted Glare for speed control purposes and obviously just adding random para chances. Sandaconda should outspeed anything that is not Scarfed with if they're paralyzed. So that's kind of good. Drill Run is really good into their team. They have a lot of ground weaknesses. Rock Slide hits the mons that are not weak to ground or mainly the Masquerain and the Terra Flying mons. And then, like I said, just leftovers to get a little bit of HP recovery. We decided to go with Terra Water this week specifically so I can take Ice Beam, generically ice coverage and water coverage, which is kind of the big concern. The little bit awkward against specifically Thwackey because I can't get out of the Thwackey weakness. Maybe I should have just done another fourth Terra Poison, but I think it's fine as kind of a way to deal with Greninja. But anyways, that's the team, and let's get into the match. So here we are for game one. So I was told that Urshifu is Terra Poison, Cinderace is Terra Fire, Gudra is Terra Poison, Pachirisu is Terra Fire, Thwackey is Terra Ghost, and Masquerain is Terra Fairy. So with this, I think that Sandaconda is very good. They have multiple Terra Poisons. They did not bring their Watermon, and so I do really like the Sandaconda. And then I also like Kilowattrel because I do think that's going to be the most consistent. Generally going into this, I said I'm not going to lead Screamtail if they have Pachirisu on their team, and so I let Kilowattrel. And then I decided to have Urshifu and Rillaboom in the back just as good damage threats. I considered Screamtail or Vaporeon in the back, but like I said, I just think having the best damage in the back makes a lot of sense. And Sandaconda kind of to deal with the Pachirisu on the lead. Same with Kilowattrel, who ignores the electric, or like the nuzzles. And so with that, let's get into the game. So they ended up leading Gudra Masquerain, which not particularly what I expected. They're going to get Intimidate off in my Sandaconda, which is a little bit annoying, but, not the end of the world. And so here, the big thing is, do I want to just go for offensive boon to Masquerain or try to set up Tailwind? And I don't think I'm going to kill Masquerain, so I think kind of just setting up Tailwind seems like the best way to make sure I outspeed next turn and, also even let my Sandaconda outspeed this turn. And also Masquerain lead also makes me think that there's a good chance they might just go with Tailwind themselves. And so I decided to go with Tailwind and Glare into Gudra. Getting Glare early on Gudra seems really impactful. I consider the coil specifically to, start, getting the, bulk up gang in front of the Gudra, but I think the Glare will be a lot of impact because I expect Gudra to be on the field for a while and just having chances to paralyze is big. We reveal that Masquerain is Scarf, which is really good because that is not the most concerning Pokemon, and I'm really happy that it's their Scarfmon over something like Cinderace. And we get Tailwind up, and now we're going to outspeed it anyways. And we get the Glare off into the Gudra, and now Gudra has a random chance to not move at any given turn. And we get really lucky and start off with a pair on turn 1. Definitely a really big turn 1 thing, but I am overall, pretty happy with that. So now here, the big question is, do I want a Thunderbolt or Air Slash into the Masquerain? My teammates were talking about possibly going for an Air Slash into that spot in case they want to switch in something like the Pachirisu. But I decide I'm just going to go with the Thunderbolt because I think Thunderbolt is going to do good damage to Masquerain, and I don't want to randomly miss an attack. And the play here is definitely to coil with Sandaconda because I'm at -1, and I also want to get the defense boost. So they end up switching out Masquerain, meaning that Air Slash would have been very good because they bring in Thwackey, which resists the electric coverage. So a little bit awkward here because, my teammates definitely suggested a little bit better of a play. However, and they also reveal that they are Grassy Seed on their Gudra, making it +1 defense, which gives it a little bit of boost. However, I am never punished for my questionable play because I get a paralysis off the Thunderbolt, meaning that it was definitely better than me going for the Air Slash there. I get the coil up on the Sandaconda, giving me a +1 defense and plus a neutral attack again. And they get another full para on this Gudra, meaning I'm in pretty good luck this game so far. But obviously, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to Glare in turn 1 is that I have this chance every single turn. So here, there's not too much to do. I'm assuming they're going to fake out into my Sandaconda. And so I just decided to go for the Air Slash. If I hit with the Air Slash, it's less than 50% chance that Gudra gets to an attack off. And then I get another coil off because at +1 attack, +2 defense, I feel pretty good about my spot, especially now that I'm going to outspeed the Thwackey. Guaranteed. So they do fake out Sandaconda, completely expected, not too surprising. We get the Air Slash off. It does pretty much 0 damage. And Sandaconda flinches as expected. And Gudra does not paralyze or flinch this time. And they get an Ice Beam off, which does a very good chunk of damage to Kilowattrel. However, I am completely fine with this because that means that I'm able to get a pretty good Endeavor off here. And on top of that, I do not expect their Gudra to feel like it is threatened. And so there's no reason for them to switch out. And so we can just get the Endeavor, get it down to 21 HP. And then we go for the Drill Run, which is going to kill Gudra. Gudra's Terra Poison, so they can't tear out of it. It's the only way they're going to get punished, or I get punished, is if they specifically switch into Masquerain. So we get the Endeavor off, goes down to 21 HP. We hit it with the Drill Run and kill the Gudra. A big threat that I'm happy to be done with, and definitely a cool little tech that got off. And Thwackey ends up fully paraing. So we got 3 full pairs already this game. So we've definitely been really lucky. Now this is one of the big reasons why, I very much was going for these paras is that, in these long grindy games, every turn there's a chance that they don't get a move, and it's really big. And that is why in this turn, when they bring out Masquerain, even though there's a good chance it's going to outspeed and kill Kilowattrel here, I can just go for a Glare into this Masquerain spot, and it will be in a really awkward position. And here I decided to go for Tailwind instead of the Endeavor. And I think that's honestly probably the right decision because if we can get the Tailwind up, we'll be in amazing shape. However, like I said, I expect my Kill Watcher to die here. However, there's nothing I really want to switch into something like a Bug Buzz or even an Ice Beam or like Icy Wind. And so I definitely think that the play here is just to go for the Glare and Tailwind. So they reveal Bug Buzz. It kills Kill Watcher. Not too surprising. This was definitely the expectation. I'm surprised they didn't go for something like an Icy Wind instead, but I'm sure they were just probably playing around missing. And we do, in fact, get the Glare off into the Masquerain, getting our third pair of the game. And they get the Woodhammer. It does a chunk of damage, even me being at +1, but not too surprising because that is a 120 base power move with the grassy terrain boost. I don't think I take another one, even with the leftovers and grassy terrain healing, but it's not the end of the world. So here we definitely just want to bring back out Urshifu. Urshifu's a little bit faster, also takes the Masquerain's moves a little bit better, especially because it's Assault Vest. And then I think the best play here is just go for the Terra so that I can, one, if I don't kill Masquerain for some reason, I'm better. And then same with Thwacky, I take Woodhammer's better. And so we just go for the Wicked Blow. There's a good chance it kills. If it doesn't, then Rock Slide should kill. And so we're going to go with the Rock Slide. If Rock Slide hits Thwacky, it has a very good chance that Thwacky is not going to be able to attack either because that double up the flinch chance and the full para chance is pretty good. So we Terra, as stated, we outspeed as expected, and we get the one shot with Wicked Blow, which is big. Wasn't sure if that was going to get the one shot or not. We get the Rock Slide off, and like I said, doesn't do great damage, but it's going to do a pretty good chance to flinch or para. We got the para, and we got the flinch. As I mentioned, this is the longer these games go, this is super, chances of this. I definitely have been really lucky. Like I said, that was about a 50-50. That's normally how it goes with full para and that. But I'm feeling like I'm in really good shape. I have Rillaboom in the back. My Urshifu isn't really threatened by anything on their team, honestly, and they definitely are going to need to start doubling up. And as they double up, I can just glare them with Sandaconda, and that's my plan, to just go for the glare into the Urshifu, make sure that my Sandaconda and Rillaboom are going to outspeed it for the rest of the game, and also give the chance for a good full para, and then go for the Poison Jab into the Thwacky, hoping to get the kill with the Terra Poison Jab. So they Terra Poison their Urshifu, and we get the Poison Jab off. One big thing to note is that I actually outsped them, which is very surprising because I do not have virtually any speed investment in my Urshifu because I have a lot of bulk. As you see, I take the Wicked Blow pretty well. We get the Glare off into the Urshifu. Now I should outspeed with everything for the rest of the game. They go for the Woodhammer into my Sandaconda, which takes it because the grassy terrain is gone, and with the Recoil, the Thwacky dies. And now this game is completely over. It's basically just, am I going to win this turn or next turn? And now that they're poisoned, I can just go for a Wicked Blow into the Urshifu and then go for a Drill Run. My Drill Run is going to be neutral damage because of the 2 Intimidates. Actually, no, I'm at -1, I think. But anyways, either way, I might not kill him this turn, but I should kill him the following turn if they don't kill anything here. We get the Wicked Blood off, which does about the same as their Wicked Blood did into me. The Drill Run does a huge chunk of damage because I got a crit. The crit obviously didn't really matter because they get the full pair here, and this game is definitely set up. So yeah, that game went really well. Obviously, I got really lucky early on with some double paras into Gudra, and then I got a couple other pairs throughout the game. Some of them, like that last one, didn't really matter, but some of them were really impactful. But also, this is why I started with the Glare in turn 1 and paired every single Mon that they played. I paired all 4 Mons. And so definitely this is kind of a big part of the strategy in these bulky, grindy matches is just get early paras. And when you have early paras, there's a good chance that you're going to get full paras at some point during the game. Definitely a little bit toxic, but that's kind of how it goes. So with that, let's get into game 2. So here for game 2. So the big thing is basically whether or not I think they're going to bring Pachirisu this game. I think that because Sandaconda was my main threat in the first game, I don't think that there's a good chance they're going to bring Pachirisu. And so that's why I want to lead Screamtail. Screamtail, like I said in the team preview, is really good into their team if I can if they don't have Pachirisu out. And then on top of that, I decided to lead the Sandaconda so that Sandaconda also threatens the Pachirisu if they do lead Pachirisu by chance. And then because I have my two, more bulky, not super offensive Mons in the front, I definitely feel like bringing my more offensive Mons in the back, which is Urshifu and Rillaboom. I consider the Vaporeon, I consider the Kilowattrel. I do really like having the access to Kilowattrel, especially with the Endeavor and like Tailwind, but my front two Mons are not huge damage dealers, so I definitely felt the need to kind of just have more damage in the back. And so with that, let's get into the game. So they end up leading Goodra Pachirisu, which is definitely a little awkward. I was definitely hoping that they would not lead Pachirisu. This is explicitly why I led the Screamtail, was with the read that they weren't going to lead Pachirisu. So we're in the really awkward situation where I would really love to just Thunder Wave into Goodra, start giving the chances to have full paras. However, if they just follow me with Pachirisu, my Thunder Wave does literally nothing. And obviously I can't Encore disable because I'm the fastest thing, unless I disable the Pachirisu with the expectation that they're going to follow me on turn one. And so this is definitely a really awkward position where, like, obviously I don't really want to switch out. And so the option is just go for the read that they're not going to follow me, or just go for the Dazzling Gleam, which is kind of the middle ground. And here, I can't one-shot Pachirisu without a Coil, and so the really only reasonable play is just a Coil, because I two-shot Pachirisu anyway, so I might as well just get the defense and special and attack boost. So they end up switching out Pachirisu, which is definitely sad because I could have just Thunder Waved into the Goodra, and that would have been a lot more useful. They bring out Thwackey, which is not the end of the world because they can't really fake out. And as we see, they get the defense boost. So we get the Dazzling Gleam, which honestly does irrelevant damage because of the grassy terrain healing. However, we are faster, and we do get the defense and attack boost with the Coil. And they end up just going for an Ice Beam, which honestly does a little bit more than I was hoping. However, with the leftovers and grassy terrain, I think I take another Ice Beam. However, I'm not 100% sure. And so here, I think the play is either to go for the Thunder Wave into the Goodra or disable the Goodra. I decide I just want to disable the Goodra, prevent it from going for another Ice Beam. And I can either go for the Drill Run into the Goodra to do good damage, or Glare one of these two Pokemon. And, my teammate in the back kind of just, in my ear says, let's just get good damage on Goodra before, try to get as much damage as we can. And I'm like, okay, that seems fair. Like I said, I'm always down for just spreading paralysis on early, but yeah. So we end up disabling the Goodra, which is pretty good. And they end up going for a Wood Hammer into the Sandaconda, which just barely misses on killing me, which is definitely not the best, but not the worst. And we get a Drill Run, which does pretty good damage into the Goodra. And they ended up going for the Ice Beam, which means the disable was quite good. And so here, with a little bit of HP recovery, Sandaconda is doing pretty reasonable. And I'm expecting them to not go for a Wood Hammer because they saw the disable. And so I want to read them going for a different move. And instead of going for the disable on Thwackey, go for the Thunder Wave. There's a chance that maybe the optimal play would have been just to go for the Encore into Goodra and make it completely useless. But I think getting the Thunder Wave into Thwackey seems really useful because it means Sandaconda gets an attack off, and Thwackey might randomly not attack in this upcoming turns. I considered even going for the Glare into the Goodra to get the double, but I was kind of told again by my teammates that we should probably just get damage into Goodra, which I think is not the worst decision here. However, we missed the Thunder Wave. But we did call it right, and they did not go for Woodhammer, and so Sandaconda survives the turn, which is huge. And we do a pretty good chunk of damage to the Goodra, and Goodra just goes for a heavy slam into Screamtail, which ends up being quite annoying amount of damage, but Screamtail is alive. So, things have gone okay. Sadly, I missed that Thunder Wave. I just go for another Thunder Wave in Thwackey and go for the Drill Run because I will kill Goodra if I can attack. And basically, I'm going to be trading Sandaconda for Goodra here, and I'm going to get a paralysis on Thwackey. So I definitely think that's worth it. However, we miss another Thunder Wave. Definitely feeling that 90% accurate. Definitely a little bit awkward because I'm likely going to get double knocked out here. Yeah. Not too much we can do about that. I was very lucky with Thunderwave this season. I think I had not missed a single Thunderwave until this exact point, and so I can't feel too bad about that, especially with how lucky I was with Thunderwave. Full Paras last game. So definitely kind of my just dessert, but definitely sad because I think either of those hitting would have been huge for me, especially because if I did have Thunderwave in the previous third, I probably would have encored that Thwacky into the knockoff, which would have been really bad because both my Mons lost their item already. So here, I think the play is just go for the Stomping Tantrum to the Gudra. I considered Woodhammer because I think that has a chance to kill, but I definitely just want to make sure I kill. And low kick is not going to be the best because we know they have Pachirisu in the back, and so we want the Stomping Tantrum. And then here I just go for the Terra Poison Jab because I want to make sure I don't take as much damage from a Woodhammer, and also this extra damage might give me a chance to kill the Thwacky. It's definitely a roll at best or never going to kill at worst, depending on what happens. So we Terra Poison Urshifu, and we get the Poison Jab off into the Thwacky. And as expected, we just miss out on the KO. And the Stomping Tantrum goes into the Gudra, and we get the kill on the Gudra. So we're definitely not in the worst shape. Like, best case scenario, they just go for Woodhammer, and that's what they end up doing. Honestly, does more than I was expecting since I now resist it, and my Urshifu is quite bulky. However, I feel like I'm in okay shape because one of their last 2 months is Pachirisu, which does not threaten either of my Pokemon at all. And I'm locked into Stomping Tantrum, which is going to be good into Pachirisu. And so I'm specifically concerned of Cinderace in the back here. If they have something like Urshifu or Masquerain, I feel pretty good about my spot. And Pachirisu and Urshifu. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said, Cinderace would have been a lot more concerning because it could one-shot my Rillaboom. And so here I'm going to try to play around Pachirisu going for a Terra Fairy here, because if it goes for a Terra Fairy and I go for like a Wicked Blow, it could definitely survive the double up. And so I want to go for the Stomping Tantrum into the Pachirisu and the Poison Jab into the Pachirisu specifically, because I think that double up should kill if it tears, and then if it doesn't tear, it should definitely kill because I get either hit with super effective poison move or super effective ground move, in which both of those should do about 75-80% if they're super effective. So Pachirisu goes for a Follow Me, which is not too surprising. A little bit surprised they didn't tear either of their 2 Mons, specifically Pachirisu in this context. However, as I mentioned, I played around this. I get the crit, which actually ends up being a little bit awkward because I wouldn't have activated the Citrus Berry if I didn't get the crit. And so I think it ends up being about the same HP as if I didn't crit. They go for the Wicked Blow, which, as we can see, doesn't quite seem like it might kill me. It's really close. We get the Stomping Tantrum, which kills with the crit. Like I said, I did the damage calc. That it does about 75% minimum because of the ban. So here I just decided to go for the Stomping Tantrum and the Drain Punch because if they Terra Poison, the double up has a good chance to kill, and if they don't Terra Poison, Urshifu is definitely not going to die from its next attack. Like I said, that I don't know if either of those crits ended up matting the Pachirisu. I'm pretty sure that double up kills no matter what, because of the fact that they didn't Terra. But there's a chance that if they actually did Terra Fairy, we actually could have. They might have been able to survive because Poison Jab might not have one shot. So they end up not tearing, which I guess is not too surprising. We get a Drain Punch off, which does a huge chunk of damage and definitely puts me out of range of a Wicked Blow. They end up going for a Wicked Blow. So one of the big things we see is that my Urshifu is outspeeding their Urshifu, even though I have almost no speed investment. So it's definitely really big that I have like 4 EVs. They end up going for the Wicked Blow, which I think is the correct move, and I survive on literally 1 HP and get the kill. So that game this match went well. I think game 2 was a lot closer. I think Screamtail definitely did not do work. Obviously, those Thunder Wave misses were huge, because if I was able to get a Thunder Wave off, I think I would have been able to, at the very least, been in a reasonable position. I think Pachirisu, them switching out Pachirisu ended up being helpful for me. But with this, there's a very good chance that hopefully we can make it to finals. We just need to wait for my other 2 teams since I was the first team. But I was really happy with the Sandaconda doing a lot of work And Urshifu, as always, did put in some work. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.